It all started like any other late-night episode. Bright lights, booming applause, and Jimmy Kimmel ready to dish out his signature mix of satire and sarcasm. Jack Black was the featured guest, known for his over-the-top energy and hilarious antics. But this time, the vibe was different. Jack entered the stage with his usual rock star swagger, but something about his eyes said he wasn't just there to joke around. From the start, it felt off. The crowd clapped enthusiastically, but Jack gave a forced smile, perhaps aware of the tense air already brewing. Jimmy tried to kick things off with a joke about Jack's weight, something the comedian had laughed off in the past, but this time, it didn't land. Jack leaned forward and replied, "Man, you're still doing fat jokes in 2025. That's the best you've got." Jimmy chuckled, trying to pass it off, but Jack didn't let it slide. "There's a point where jokes aren't funny anymore. They're lazy. You've got a whole team of writers and still default to body stuff?" The audience reacted with an awkward murmur. Jimmy, caught off guard, tried to recover by pivoting to Jack's recent movie, but Jack wasn't done. "I came here thinking we'd have fun, maybe talk about music or the film, not be the butt of a cheap punchline again." Jimmy, now clearly irritated, replied, "Come on, Jack, you dish it. You gotta be able to take it too." But Jack wasn't backing down. "I dish jokes, yeah, but I punch up, not down. That's the difference. I don't go for low-hanging fruit." The air grew noticeably tense. The crowd didn't know whether to laugh, clap, or stay silent. Jack adjusted in his seat, visibly annoyed, and added, "People don't come on your show to be insulted under the guise of comedy." Jimmy tried to laugh again, muttering, "Well, maybe you're just having an off day." To which Jack responded, "Or maybe I'm just not into passive-aggressive humor anymore." Then came the part where things started to spiral. Jimmy brought up a recent red carpet moment where Jack had been unusually quiet, trying to make fun of it. "What, was the mic off, or were you just tired from running up the stairs?" he joked. Jack raised his eyebrows, leaned forward, and asked, "Why do you keep trying to get a laugh at my expense?" The audience gasped slightly. Jack continued, "You invited me here for a conversation, not a roast. And if this is what you call entertainment, maybe you need to rethink your format." Jimmy looked stunned. Trying to lighten the mood, Jimmy played a pre-recorded skit involving a cartoon version of Jack in exaggerated scenarios. What was meant to be funny ended up backfiring. Jack watched in silence, then looked directly at Jimmy and said, "You made a whole skit mocking me and thought I'd sit here and laugh like a clown?" Jimmy tried to interject, but Jack cut in again. "You think because I act goofy that I'm not paying attention to the subtext? This isn't comedy. It's disrespect masked as parody." The audience was stunned. Some clapped. Some just stayed quiet. The mood had entirely shifted. At that point, Jack took off his glasses, looked around, and said, "This industry, man, so quick to laugh at people who don't fit the Hollywood mold. I've made peace with who I am, but I'm done pretending that these kinds of jokes don't hurt or belittle." Jimmy still tried to salvage the segment, saying, "It's all in good fun, man. You know me." Jack shook his head. "That's the problem. I do know you. I've been on this show enough to see the pattern." That line drew some surprised gasps. You could feel the producers behind the camera scrambling. Jimmy, now obviously uncomfortable, attempted to regain control. "Okay, look, we've had a lot of great laughs over the years. Don't take it personal." Jack looked him in the eye and said, "Maybe it's time you took something personal, like how your jokes land, who they hurt, and what message they send. It's 2025, man. Wake up." Jimmy sat in silence for a second, his grin finally gone. Jack reached down, unclipped his mic, and stood up. "You don't need to escort me. I'll see myself out." The crowd started clapping slowly, unsure whether it was for Jack's honesty or just the shock of the moment. As Jack walked off the stage, Jimmy fumbled with his cue cards and muttered, "Well, Jack Black, everybody." But the applause that followed wasn't joyful. It was awkward, fragmented, hesitant. The band played softly, as if unsure whether to go full volume. Backstage, Jack reportedly didn't yell or lash out. He quietly left the studio, said goodbye to the staff, and declined to do any post-show interviews. The walk-off spread online within minutes. Clips of the exchange were uploaded to social media and went viral faster than anyone expected. The internet had a field day. Jack Black deserves better trended overnight. Fans praised his restraint, his boldness, and his refusal to be the butt of recycled jokes. Comment sections were flooded with comments like, "Jimmy crossed the line," and "Jack handled that with class." Within 24 hours, major entertainment blogs were dissecting the moment. Some praised Jack for his honesty in an industry known for fakeness. Others criticized Jimmy for failing to read the room and crossing boundaries just to get laughs. Jimmy eventually released a half-hearted apology via social media, stating that he regretted if anything came across disrespectful, and that he always admired Jack's talent and spirit. But the damage was done. People saw the truth unfold live. There was no editing, no PR spin. Jack hadn't stormed off in rage. He walked out with dignity. He didn't scream or lash out. He simply stood up for himself. And in doing so, he struck a nerve with viewers tired of late-night hosts getting away with passive-aggressive jabs masked as jokes. Over the next few weeks, Jack Black stayed mostly silent. He didn't do a public tell-all or a reactive social media rant. Instead, he used his platforms to promote mental health awareness and respectful comedy. "Laughter should lift people up, not punch them down," he tweeted once. That post alone got over 1 million likes. People weren't just reacting to the drama, they were connecting with the message, and in the process, Jack's reputation grew even stronger. He wasn't just the funny guy anymore. He was the guy who knew his worth. Behind the scenes, sources revealed that other celebrities had shared similar concerns about Jimmy's humor style, but had stayed quiet to avoid backlash. Jack had broken the silence. In private circles, many actors, comedians, and writers commended his move. A few even canceled upcoming appearances on Kimmel's show in solidarity. Networks noticed. Executives at ABC reportedly had meetings to review the tone of the program. One insider said, "It was the wake-up call we didn't know we needed." As time passed, Jack returned to the spotlight on his terms. He gave a powerful interview on a podcast where he addressed the moment. "I'm not mad at Jimmy," he said. "I'm just tired of laughing along with stuff that doesn't feel right. We evolve, or we stay stuck in the same old cycles." That level of maturity struck a chord. Fans shared the clip everywhere. It wasn't just about a TV show anymore. It had become a conversation about respect, comedy, and the human behind the celebrity. Meanwhile, Jimmy's ratings dipped for several weeks. Audiences noticed the tension and the shift. He attempted to invite Jack back for a reconciliation episode, but Jack politely declined. "We've said what needed to be said," he replied, through his publicist. That decision only reinforced his stance. He wasn't interested in optics or smoothing things over for PR. He had made his point and walked away. And that quiet power resonated more than any dramatic comeback could have. Today, the memory of that night remains vivid in the minds of viewers. It wasn't just a celebrity walk-off. It was a statement. Jack Black, often underestimated because of his comedic persona, showed that authenticity, respect, and dignity matter more than a few cheap laughs. He reminded the world that even the funniest people deserve to be treated with respect. And sometimes the loudest message isn't a punchline, it's simply knowing when to walk away.